Oh, okay, Greg, are you there?
I'm here.
Director Stewart, are you there?
Yes, he's go ahead. I won't touch anymore. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can I get a motion to come out of closed session?
Don't move, Byron. Second, Director Stewart.
Here we have Vice President Glennon, motion to come out of closed session, a second by Director Wallace.
No, man. Stewart.
Director Stewart, so we have a motion by Vice President Glennon. We have a second by Director Stewart to come out of closed session. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
President Rick Webb.
Yes.
Vice President Byron Glennon. Yes. Director Ben Stewart. Yes. Director Alfred Wallace. Yeah. Director Greg Wood.
Yes.
I vote.
For the record show that with a 5-0 vote, we came out of closed session at 6:15, and we'll continue on with the general session of the meeting. At this time, we'd like to open the meeting up for public comments. At this time, any person may address the board on any subject within the district's jurisdiction, which is not on the agenda. However, any non-agenda matter will be referred to the staff for report and or action at the subsequent board meeting, and no action can be taken on any such item unless the action has been authorized under Section 54954.2 Board of the Government Code. Any person may also address the board on any matter at the time the matter is discussed prior to board consideration and action. We request that the speakers limit their comments to 5 minutes. It is now 6:15, and we open the session up for public comment.
I have a public comment as a member of the public that I'd like to read.
Please go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you. This evening I've taken some thoughts from a presentation by my father at a school board meeting some 70 years ago. I've replaced the focus on students and curriculum with our customers and the education concerning water and sewer. His comments were about students and the curriculum in the school. I've taken those comments, but I've changed those two aspects to our customers, which would be the students, and their education concerning water and sewer, which is the responsibility of the school district. Rosen Community Service District has been given the responsibility to provide water and sewer service to all the homes in our district. Water and sewer service encompass nearly every aspect of life in Roseland. Let me read that sentence one more time because it's true. I didn't believe it before I got on the board, but I really believe it now. Water and sewer service encompass nearly every aspect of life in Roseland. When we consider all of the regulations that have been and are being established in our state, the breadth and depth of our responsibility must be understood by all customers. It's the responsibility of Roseland Community Service District to provide every individual customer an opportunity to understand what providing water and services involves. It's the responsibility of the customer to inquire and be informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Glennon. I made a comment the other day to Brock, and I think it kind of ties into what you just said. 3 o'clock in the morning, when I'm up to get started for work, you know, you go to the shower, you go to the bathroom, and we've never had a problem up here. Things get missed, and I think that kind of ties into how important it is to our livelihood and our lives as a whole. So, and again, I'll say the words, Byron, are as timely today as they were 7 years ago. And you just moved 2 words around. So thank you for that. Any other public comments there? Okay, let's go on here with any voluntary public roll call via the teleconference. Any member of the public that wishes who wishes to identify themselves that's present for this meeting, please do so for the record in the minutes. Go ahead.
Rosamond News is represented by John Joyce.
Good evening, John, sir. How are you?
Fine. Rick, how are you?
I'm well.
How's the family?
Anyone else in the public that'd like to be recognized? Okay, hearing none, let's continue with, we have consent calendar. We have CC1, which to approve a check, voucher register from 8/31/2021, 9/13/2021. There's no question about it. May I get a motion for CC1?
So move on CC1, Byron.
We have a motion by Vice President Glennon. May I get a second?
Second, Director Stewart.
And we have a second by Director Stewart. May I get a roll call vote, please?
President Rick Webb.
Yes.
Vice President Byron Glennon. Yes. Director Ben Stewart. Yes. Director Alfred Wallace. Yes. Director Greg Wood.
Yes.
5-0.
For the record reflect on consent calendar item CC1, the approval was 5-0. Let's go down to CC number 2, cash balance report for August 2021. There's no questions on that item there. May I get a roll call? May I get a motion for approval?
Motion on CC2. Second.
Okay. Then we have a motion by Vice President Glennon, a second by Director Stewart. May I get a roll call vote, please?
President Rick Webb.
Yes.
Vice President Byron Glennon. Yes. Director Ben Stewart. Yes. Director Alfred Wallace. Yes. Director Greg Wood.
Yes.
5-0.
Will the record reflect that for CC number 2, the cash balance report for August 2021, the approval was 5-0. Let's go down to presentations. We have the Water Reclamation Plant update. The presenter is Brock Smith, Public Works Manager. Are you there, Brock?
I am. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you. The update I have for you tonight will be very brief as we are still in a holding pattern awaiting vendors to arrive. As I mentioned at the last board meeting, we experienced some delays with vendors and their companies not sending them out because of COVID concerns. So we're still waiting for some vendors to show up. But since the last board meeting, the contractor completed the installation around the lower ducting, completed a majority of the grading and placement of base on the plant access roads, and completed the grout in the new manhole connections. The vendor for the utility water pumps was on site for testing last week, and more vendors are now scheduled to show up next week. So hopefully I will have more to report at the next board meeting, but that concludes my update on the wastewater treatment plant.
Thank you, Brock. Any directors, any questions for Brock? So let's continue with directors' reports, comments. Let's start with Director Wallace. Sir, you have the floor.
No comments.
Okay, let's go to Director Stewart. You have the floor, sir.
Just one thing that was brought to my attention. I believe that the waste haulers for the pump septic tanks, I know we're not going to be letting them dump at the treatment plant. They're still going to be allowed to dump at LA County's Avenue D treatment plant that I know of, but they will not be able to dispose of grease waste out of interceptors. So I have a feeling that the alleys and places, we're going to see an increase of grease waste being dumped in the alleys or in our manholes that are out of sight. So I would just want to let Brock know, which I'm pretty sure he'd be aware of. If we start getting some SSOs coming up, this is probably going to be one of the things that we're going to keep an eye out for.
Thank you. And that's probably something, Steve, that we may at some point want to make the community aware of if they see something like that, to maybe report it to us, because that could wreak havoc on our system. Thank you, Director Stewart. Director Wood, what do you have for us, sir?
Yes, just kind of an observation. I know that we've had some public comments in the past couple of meetings with some concerned citizens, and they've talked about the communications, and they've talked about the the fees going on the property tax bill and this and that. And I know that our general manager is done an extensive effort, him and the staff, of reaching out to the community and putting out flyers and doing all types of efforts. Steve went through a pretty extensive report at the last meeting, but I guess my question for you, Steve, is that in light of this, is there anything more that you think that we can do to enhance our public outreach to the community that maybe we're overlooking right now or something?
Funny you mentioned that. I had started reviewing what we had done and what we were doing, and I learned that one of our local newspapers were not being used, to get some of the messages out, some of the information out, and I have met with our PR firm and instructed them to start using our local newspaper, the Roseman News, to disseminate information for the community as well. And but I was shocked that we weren't doing it prior to that, and so that'll be corrected. And that was the biggest issue that I saw in what we were not doing. I think we're doing an extensive outreach, but I think it could be better, and we look forward to that picking up. So they should be reaching out to you, John, here shortly in regard to utilizing your services for the community also.
And I would like to ask our general manager that if, going forward, if there's a need of more funding or whatever for community outreach, to please bring it to the appropriate committee or bring it back to the board so we can discuss and act upon that.
We'll do that.
And that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Director Wood. Director Brennan, you have the floor, sir.
Sunday, when I was coming home up 30th, I saw this truck in the middle of the just past the intersection with the manhole cover off and all these wires, and it didn't say Rose Community Service District. So I called Steve, and Steve thought what it was a contractor we've hired to take some of our manhole covers and put some technology there that runs flow. And so he went down there, and a little bit later gave me a call, and he said that's who it was, the contractor. He said, but it was the owner of the company because he couldn't get anybody else to do it on Sunday. And maybe he'll add that to his report. Brock, I probably should have called you, but I saw that guy in the middle of the street messing with our manhole cover, and he wasn't one of us.
Well, thank you for looking out for the well-being of the community, Director Brennan. Was that all you had, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, I have nothing additional. I just would ask that we all keep ourselves safe and keep mindful that, we sure have challenges out there with COVID and the variances and all that, and our well-being. Let's all remain diligent as we move forward. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go. General Counsel, do you have anything for us, sir?
He's gone from the meeting.
Okay. All right, let's go to the General Manager update. Steve Perez, you have the floor.
Yeah, this week I attended the water reuse conference and did a presentation. in regard to our project at the water reclamation plant. It was very well received, a lot of good discussion afterwards, and sharing of information on what we did because of our ability to find a solution that was the least cost effective, or it was the most cost effective and the least expensive. And not only that, but in the history of the district that I gave, I also said that one of the historic things that were recent was that our basin was adjudicated. And I told the audience that I would tie that in at the end. And at the end, as the discussion was winding down, I told them that now, let me explain why building this plant was tied to the adjudication. It was because the water credit that we will receive by building this plant, that if I had to go out and buy the equivalent amount of water, would be about $8.1 million. And that is a direct savings to the ratepayers of our community. And it was a positive, although we'll have a large number at the end of the construction period. We would have spent another $8+ million to buy the water that it is producing for us. So that was a positive, and that was something that they felt that they could emulate, and we were thankful for the opportunity. I might point out that Director Wood got us all involved in this, and we've had several speaking engagements in the state in regard to our project, and I think it was fortuitous of him to bring us forward or in the forefront to show what can be done with a little bit of cooperation, not only with our partners in building the plant, which are our engineering and our consultant engineers and the like, but our regulatory partners that assisted us along the way. And I might point out also, I mentioned that when we went to get our waste discharge requirements from the Lahontan Board, everybody thought that this was going to be very hard to do. But because of others' forethought and bringing these solutions forward, they gave us kudos for finding a way to address our issues. So it was to hopefully show the other small districts that they too could do that. And we got some good bites in questions afterwards. So it was a tremendous success. I got emails of how well it was done. So that's one of the things that I did this weekend. And then to go on Byron's call regarding the manhole covers, when he called and said somebody's playing in our sewer. And the guy was real gracious, and he was the boss, and basically he had COVID in his office, and his backlog was such that he didn't want it to get any worse, so he figured he would come out and do it himself. And he had one more manhole to do. He was getting ready to pull away from where Byron told me he was, and so I thanked him, and I figured it was smart covers coming out. So, and with that, for the board, Ben and Greg, Rocket said that we were getting good numbers, and I'll let him, if he has further to update, give a report on that. But that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Steve. Lizette, you have a report for us, Assistant GM? Okay, so we have, let us continue down. We have John or Brock from Public Works. You guys have something for us?
I do. Thank you, sir. First off, I want to thank Director Stewart for the information on the LA County Sanitation District plant. That's good information, and we'll continue to keep an eye on those manholes that are in alleys and in discrete areas and make sure that there's no vandalism going on there. On that topic, since the last board meeting, we've cleaned 7,000 feet of sewer mains, and we've inspected and treated 18 sewer manholes. As Byron noticed and Steve mentioned, we had the 4 new smart covers installed in our system over the weekend. We've been monitoring those since, so we have a good 3 full days worth of data since then, and the results are exactly what we expected for the lines that we put those in. One of the lines is a smaller line that will be a part of a future CIP project, so as soon as we gather enough data from that line, we'll move that cover and start planning for a relief on that line. Our plan is to rotate these throughout the entire system to get a good picture of what the entire wastewater collection system is doing. So they're definitely doing their job, and they're a very useful tool for staff here at the district. The Public Works crew also repaired 9 service line leaks, flushed 5 blow-offs in the water distribution system, removed graffiti at 17 locations, replaced the wiring to the Volt water station in front of the district office, and completed our monthly meter reading.
Rick, I'd like to Brock's report and everything that his crew does, and I just got to give him kudos. I don't think many people know just how hard he works and what he does for the district, and how many hats that he wears, or how many projects he juggles. He juggles a vast amount, and plus, when I need something, I call him and he's on it, and I get the information. That's not just the boss calling and requesting it. It's just his way of working. And I just wanted to point out and give him kudos for that.
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, Steve, I think those are well-deserved. You know, what I would like to do is pass along a second one to Brock and Lizette both. And I've asked the community if you have the time to drive up to the district office. And they have 2 test spots there where they have put down a drought-tolerant type of a grass in there. They experimented with sod in one plot, and they experimented with seed. And Brock, I was over there the other night at the special board meeting and took a second look at those again. And compliments to both of you. That came in beautifully. And to believe that that's up there is tolerating the shade, the sun, and everything else. So that was a nice pick on you and Lizette's part for that there. So my compliments out to both of you in regards to that there.
I'd like to point out also that early on we got some comments regarding those plots and watering them, and the intent of that was to show the 2 different grasses and how much water it took to grow those. And with that information, we could show that this type of grass takes this much water, this type of grass takes that much water, and the third one is the desert scape and how much water it takes. And it's an education tool and for the public, and feel free to come by and look at it. And we'll have signs up there as soon as we get the numbers together on how much it took to grow that. Good.
Yeah, they turned out marvelously. Okay, anything else you have for us, Brock?
Just to add to Steve's comment and your comment on the graph there, we do collect monthly meter readings on all 3 of those sections. They all have their dedicated meters that are the exact same meters that we have in the ground for the rest of our customers. So we don't quite have a trend available because the graph is so new, but we can provide that information if customers are wondering what a yard of that style and that size would use in water. We have that information readily available to the public. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir, very much. If there's nothing else from the directors of the GM, anything else, gentlemen?
Nope. Not for me.
Can I get a motion? Okay, can I get a motion on the floor for an adjournment?
So moved, Byron. Second, Stewart.
We have a motion by Vice President Glenn A second by Director Stewart. Can I see kind of roll call vote?
President Rick Webb?
Yes.
Vice President Byron Glennon? Yes. Director Ben Stewart? Yes. Director Alfred Wallace? Yes. Director Greg Wood?
Yes.
5-0.
Would the records show that at 6:39 p.m., there's a 5-0 vote for adjournment. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.